Cool. All right. So first thing I'm going to share is the improved file handling for Assistant API calls. So the TLDR is that we're now storing CSV reports with OpenAI, as well as on our own database or on our own server. So this prevents us from creating a new OpenAI file object with every call to the Assistant's APIs. So that's a lot more efficient because we have it in both places. And then it also allows us to specify the file name and type so that the model can understand the attachments that we're chatting with a little bit more clearly. So this screenshot here shows it's just a clip of our reports table. And you can see we have the assistant file ID here in this column. And I think that's kind of the ID that allows us to connect the two databases. So the OpenAI database where our file, the CSV is stored, or I guess in this case, this would be like a PDF or a CSV or a text file. And then we have it stored on our database as well, so we can make that connection. So that's what our table looks like. And then I'll go to the code really quickly. And this is in the Assistants API utils Python file. And again, this is all green because this is a code that was added in this PR that we're looking at. And basically what I wanted to highlight here is we have this Python function get OpenAI file. And here are the parameters or the arguments that we're passing into the function right here. And the one that I'll point out is we have this assistant file ID. And down a little bit further, you can see we're using that when we call get OpenAI client files dot retrieve. So we're retrieving a file from the OpenAI and we're passing in the file ID as the argument. And that just lets OpenAI know when we're looking for a file, basically which one to get. So we use the ID to retrieve that file. And then we return the file ID in this function. So again, when we're trying to make that connection between our database and OpenAI, we get the assistant file ID here, and that just helps us, like I said, make that connection. Anything else to add on that, Connor?
You nailed it for the most part. I think the only thing that I would add is like really the two benefits we get out of doing this is number one should be quicker calls, because up until now we've been recreating that file object with OpenAI every time we send a chat message. So that's pretty slow having to recreate that every time. So the fact that we're creating it once initially, then storing the ID will speed up the overall processing time of the request. And then the other thing we're getting is the file extensions or file names, like you mentioned, which help the Assistants API determine what's in the file without even having to open it, right? If I have a file called stockdata.csv, OpenAI, the Assistants API can kind of figure out what's in there without needing to like open it, analyze it, and that should also help speed things up and get things more accurate.
Next thing I'm going to demo is a link in the chat bubble when you enter analytics mode. And this is just an enhancement for user empathy. So you can see here, I was chatting with the CSV. I asked a question and it said you're chatting with the CSV, switching to analytics mode. And this is actually now a link. So if I click this, the docs will open up in a new window or in a new tab. And then I can scroll through and get some more information about analytics mode and analyzing CSVs and Excel files.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's a nice little enhancement. Any questions here?